Today is Thursday, November 3rd, and you are reading Ezekiel chapters 25 through 27, Psalm 85, and John chapter 9. Here in Ezekiel, Ezekiel is focusing on God's words to him as a prophecy against several nations. He starts in chapter 25 talking about a prophecy against Ammon. Now, Ammon was a place, it was a nation right across the Jordan River from God's people. And it was north of Moab, which he talks about Moab next. So that's kind of the area that we now call in the present day Jordan. And in fact, their capital city continues to carry that same name, Ammon. And so it's kind of interesting just to know that area, but God is prophesying against this nation. And it's just basically because they didn't grieve. They weren't sad when God's people were destroyed, when his temple was broken, when Jerusalem was in ruins. And so he talks about that. And so he ends that little section, and all through these chapters, he often says he's going to do this, and he's going to destroy Ammon. And he says, so that you will know that I am the Lord. Yeah. So then he continues against Moab, and he says things against them. And then he says, I'm going to inflict punishment on Moab, and then they will know that I am the Lord. And he continues in talking about Edom and the Philistines, and finally a few chapters actually, on into tomorrow, talking about Tyre. And he, in fact, with Tyre, he says he's going to punish them and he's going to destroy them. And he says in verse 6, he says, then they will know that I am the Lord. None of these people knew him. None of these people belonged to him. They were not his followers. You know, God promises us as his followers. Jesus gave us promises that when we follow him, the world is going to hate us. The world, Satan's followers, hate us as Jesus followers. And it's up to us to remember that we just keep our eyes fixed on him and we obey God's commands. We want to be more like him every day, and not to be out to revenge those who don't belong to him. That's up to God, and he took care of these people. He wiped them out. He says earlier in the Old Testament, he says, vengeance is mine. It's not up to us. And there is no way that the Israelites could have done this kind of vengeance on these people. In fact, in Tyre, it was known as like a merchant place that they sold all kinds of goods. They had lots of ships that they sold, used their ships to carry their goods to other nations to sell all the things. And he goes into talking about Tyre and kind of has this analogy of, okay, you use all these things, I'm going to compare you with one of your beautiful ships. And that ship is going to be full of merchandise. It's going to sink to the bottom of the sea. And that's how you as a nation, Tyre, is going to be. So he punishes the people. Not at this point, not his own people. He's taking care of his own people. And so I want you to remember today that when people are against you, especially because of Christ in your life, consider God your protector. Remember that he is the one who is going to take care of those people. You just be focused on that you are the image of Jesus to those people, and pray for them. Be an imitation of Christ right before them, because they're watching you. And you know what? God's going to take care of that in punishing them if they're doing something wrong to you. And so I want to encourage you today to, no matter where you are, no matter what is done to you, remember to keep your eyes fixed on Jesus and to be the image that he has called us as his disciples to be, and to become more and more like him. And so, church, until we see you again, you are sent.